Welcome to Sam's Russian Adventures. I'm Sam, an English guy living in provincial Russia, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems that you're going to face when you move to Russia. Now, this is an interesting one, of course, because no foreigners talk about problems at all. If you watch their videos, they hardly ever mention anything bad about Russia. And the reason this is because when you're a foreigner in Russia, you feel like you're a guest. And as a guest of a country, you only want to say good things because you think, if I start saying bad things about Russia, then maybe they'll ask me to leave, right? So while you're a foreigner in the country, you want to behave well and you only want to say the good things. The problem with this is that you guys not living in Russia don't get to find out any of the bad things and the difficult situations that you're going to face when you come here. And believe me, you will face problems, whether that be legal problems, whether that be loneliness, whether it'll be a problem doing something you don't know how to do, or whether it be something even worse. You will face problems, and I can assure you that all foreigners living in Russia face these problems at some time or another. They just don't talk about them. If you look at the foreigners that are living in Russia and you just look at the YouTube channels, the channels who are families that have come to Russia and don't have Russian wives or don't have a particular job where they work at, well, these are the channels that have faced problems. And if you look at those who have come to Russia and have Russian wives, for example, or have come here to work at a specific job from day one, well, they have that support network around them and they're going to face less problems. Now, they're still going to face problems, but they're going to have that support network and that help on hand to help them to overcome those problems. Whereas the main channels that you know on YouTube, such as, I don't know, the Australians living in Altai, right? They don't have Russian family, they don't work at a particular Russian organization, and they face lots of problems building their houses and living here in Russia. If you look at the family that I featured, the Hare family, right? They've been living in Russia for a year and they're facing really big problems right now. They've been scammed. It's amazing how cats can hear the owner's voice. I was making a video way up my road and the cat has heard me and come all the way up the road to meet me. So I'm going to walk back to the house with her now to get her home. Wow, pretty incredible. There's a good couple of 100 meters. Come on, Ksush. Come on. Come on, Ksush. Wow. They'll follow the owner's voice anywhere, right? Come on, Ksush. Come on. Come on, Ksush. Ksush. Come on. Come on. Crazy. You're going to come all the way up the road just to see me. Look, come on, Ksush, come on. She's home now. So this isn't a video criticizing Russia. This is a video highlighting the realities that you're going to face as a foreigner moving to a foreign country, and that foreign country being Russia. I think that this video is extremely important because of the amount of people that are wanting now to come to Russia. And let me tell you this, life is getting easier every day. Life used to be a lot more difficult, things were a lot more complicated, and now things are getting easier every day. But it's been a while since I got confused and didn't know what I was doing. And because I've been here for a while, perhaps that's why I think things are getting easier. I honestly fear for a lot of people who are making the move to Russia because essentially in the past we came to Russia because we loved Russia. That's why we came here, not because we wanted to escape something else, because where we were living was bad. We came to Russia just because we were real Russian enthusiasts. I mean, if you go back to my teenage years, my early teenage years, I was obsessed with Russia. This was before internet, before anything else. I used to source out Russian football shirts, and you can find photos of me wearing a Russian football shirt way before coming to Russia was even a thing. And it was our obsession with Russia that got us through the difficult times. We really wanted to succeed here. And that's what I'm fearful of people that are coming here now. Perhaps you're not so keen to just succeed at all costs in Russia, but you're running away from something that you don't like wherever else you are in the world. At some point during your time in Russia, you're going to require serious determination to overcome some of the problems that you might face. And that's why I'm saying this. But really, this video is here to help you, because I want you to understand the reality of life in Russia, the problems that you might face, and so you know how to overcome them. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the banya with my friends. A lot of the problems that you face in Russia, that anyone faces in Russia, are resolved at the banya. It's not just a sauna, it's a place to discuss things. And so that's where I'm going now to film the rest of this video. So I'm just in a local shop near to my friend's house. I've been to the gym for an hour on the bike. I'm always not sure, what should I do? Should I go for a shower before I go to the banya? Is it worth it or not? So usually I just sweat like a pig until I get to my friend's house. I always get a few things for the local homeless dude that's hanging around outside the shop. What should we get him this time? Should we get him some of these? Grab some bread for him. A few different things in there, some meats and different stuff. Look at this guy with a sexy body, look at that. Have you ever seen a body as good as that in your life? So my battery died, making me even more angry. Not really angry, I'm just a realist, and I want you to learn what it's really going to be like for you when you come. So if you expect the worst, nothing bad can happen, right? So I'm going to try and go in the banya with the camera. Is it going to get steamed up? Probably. We can only try. Banker. There's going to be things just like registration that is going to drive you wild. You might not think about it right now, but you're going to think, right, I'm going to come to Russia, I'm going to rent an apartment. The chances are the owner of that apartment does not want to give you the registration that you need in order to live there. Within 7 days of living in Russia, you need registration. But most places that you rent, the owner does not want to register you, because they're worried that if it's official, then they have to pay tax, and they don't want to pay tax. The next thing that is going to be really frustrating and difficult is getting documents. Now you might think, well, why do I need documents for? In Russia you need documents for everything, and I remember how difficult and stressful it used to be, even now. So there's something I need to do, and I need 4 different medical tests in order to do it, and I've got to bring the certificates. Now if I think back to when I had no idea where to go, who to speak to, how to say what I needed to say, and even like had to translate the types of documents that I needed into English just to kind of understand what I was doing, then it's pretty stressful. And this type of thing happens all the time. It's the Russian mentality that you need loads of different documents with loads of different stamps on to do loads of different things. Just for example, I went to the bank not long ago, wanted to withdraw money, and they said, for some reason we can't enter the system with your passport. It's showing that your passport's invalid. I'm like, well, obviously it's not invalid. They're like, right, well, we need you to go to immigration. You need them to then find out what the problem is and bring you a certificate, and make a certificate for you basically to bring back to the bank to show that your passport is genuine, so that you can get into your bank. And well, bit of a nightmare, right? So obviously I know the immigration department, I know where to go, I knew who to speak to, but still, even when I got there, they said, right, well, we're going to have to investigate this, and then you can come back and let us know. So But for Russians, this is completely normal, a completely normal thing, and after you've lived here for a long time, you'll feel the same. It's frustrating, but it's normal. How interesting is this building? So the next thing is loneliness. You might not think it, you might think I'm going to go to Russia, I'm going to make epic friends, I'm going to be really active and everything's going to be really great, but I can tell you now, I've lived here over 20 years and quite often I get lonely. And I get lonely especially in winter, in the winter months, because it gets dark at 4 o'clock, 3:30, it's cold outside, no one really wants to go places, so in the evening it can be pretty lonely. Now I've got some absolutely incredible, amazing friends, but still the connection that I have with my childhood friends is much stronger than with my Russian friends. Now, I don't mean that my Russian friends aren't good people. We have a good laugh and, you know, they're really kind to me and, you know, we sometimes argue like all friends do. But the actual understanding of each other, how you understand each other's jokes, each other's humor, all of that stuff, it comes from growing up together and being in the same country together. And I think there's lots of times when I'm with my mates and someone will tell a joke and everyone will start to laugh like crazy and I'll think, it's not funny. And I understood the joke, but because the line has a double meaning from something from maybe a film that they watched in childhood when they were all 5 or something like that, they all laugh and obviously I don't really get why it's a joke. And that kind of stuff happens a lot. And that's just the way it is. So even if you know Russian language incredibly well and you're an expert in Russian language, if you haven't grown up in Russia at the same time as all your friends have, then you're not going to have that connection. And that is quite often why foreigners move to a different country and then they kind of connect to each other, because they all have one thing in common. None of them were born in Russia. So the likelihood is that your best friends might not actually be Russian. They might just be other foreigners like you. Now the next thing is relationships. Russian women. Obviously I can't talk about Russian men, I only know about Russian women. But the relationships you have with Russian women will probably be stronger when you first come to Russia than when you've been here for a while. And the reason is because when you first come to Russia, you need them. You don't just want to be with them and want to spend time with them, you need them. You need them to do the things that you can't do yourself in Russia. And so being with them is such a better option than not being with them, right? So being with a Russian girl is going to make your life so much easier because you've got a translator ready to help you to do all the things you need to do, to show you all the places to go to. But once you've been here for a while, the most important thing is then the connection that you have with the Russian woman. The connection that you and each other kind of suit each other. But the problem is then that maybe you don't connect as well as you thought you did when you first met, because once you start to understand each other a lot more, you realize you might be very different. But to start with, you won't notice that. To start with, you'll notice that the lady is helpful, she's beautiful, and she's kind. And those are the 3 things that you really need when you first arrive. So my advice to you is, if you meet someone, get married, have a relationship, have a family, because if you wait too long, it might not happen. Next on the list, we have everyday tasks. Everyday tasks that you don't think about doing when you're in the country where you live right now. You just do them automatically. You know where to go, you know who to speak to, you know what to buy, you know how much it costs, you know how to get there, everything. But when you're in Russia and you don't know, well, it's an adventure. And that's how you're going to have to look at things if you want to succeed here, like an adventure. Because if you're escaping somewhere and you're just coming here because you don't like how it is where you are, then the chances are you're not going to succeed here. You need to understand that it's going to be stressful a lot of the time. There's going to be days when you come home and you think, I tried really hard to get the thing that I need to get, but I just couldn't get it. I couldn't find it. I didn't know who to speak to. I went to the wrong place. There's going to be so many times when everyday things that you think are just easy are not easy. And this is going to happen an awful lot, and you need to be prepared for that. This is something you're going to go through. It's something that happens to me still now, and I've been here for over 20 years. So this is something that you really need to be prepared for. And I'm not trying to say this to you, probably thinking, well, it's not that hard to do stuff. Obviously, now you've got the internet and apps and loads of things that can help. But you're really going to need to make the most of your friends, your connections, your relationships, because everyday tasks can be very frustrating. A lot of things are just going to seem weird. They're going to seem strange. They're going to go and defy all logic. But this is Russia. This is not where you've come from. So your mindset and your mentality is completely different. And this brings me on to one of the next things that is really important if you want to succeed here, really important. And that is the infrastructure, the structure that you set up around you in your life here. Because when you come here, you need to acclimatize. And I know a lot of people are thinking, I don't really want to work in Russia, right? All I want to do is, I've got money already, I'm going to come here, I'm going to buy a house, you know, and then that's it, right? But the thing is, then you're on your own. You've got no structure around you. You've got no one to help you. If you work somewhere, then the company, the organization where you work, are going to help you to settle in. You're going to meet friends, people that want to get to know you and show you around, right? If you don't have that, then you're on your own. And it can be very isolating, really can be. I know a lot of people will think, well, I'm coming over with my family, right? So you're going to be at home with your family. I know a lot of people, or maybe introverts, you're going to have to put that to one side. And you're going to have to force yourself to go out and meet people, because if you don't, you're going to be lonely. You're not going to settle into Russia. You're not going to enjoy it. You really need to force yourself. Can't speak. You're actually going to have to force yourself to go to meet people, to join clubs, to do things, because otherwise you really are going to be lonely. And you might not think that you will be, but I can assure you, you will be. Now, it might seem that I'm being really negative right now, but I'm just warning you. I want you to succeed here. I want you to come here. I want you to enjoy it here. I want you to be successful here, and so that you can go and tell everyone else how good it is here, because I love it here. But I want you to be prepared. And I really am fearful that a lot of people are not prepared, and they think, you know, it's going to come to Russia and everything is going to be amazing because a couple of YouTube channels show it that way. But as I've said already, almost all the YouTube channels are made by people that either work somewhere that have got an infrastructure and a structure around them of people helping them, or they've got a Russian partner. And if you look at the other channels, those people that haven't got that help around them, haven't got that Russian partner, then they have problems in Russia. They're the ones that, you know, always show things that are going wrong on their channels, because they haven't got that structure. And that's why I really want you to find your structure here. And what I'm going to do then, I'm going to make another video, how to survive in Russia, and I'll tell you about the things that you can do to acclimatize here and to solve your problems here, because that is going to be the difference, I think, between staying in Russia long term or giving up after half a year and going home.